All right, we are now live. Sorry about this, y'all. We are back live. Thank y'all for hanging in. We're back. So, oh, y'all, I feel like I had a hot flash waiting on this here show to pop. But, we improvise. I have no idea what was going on. Probably 'cause we're with a $400 million word. But, y'all, thank y'all for holding on with us today with me. I have Del Frey on here, Chris Waddell, and Georgine Miss Bosta today. So I'm going to bring them get into these hot topics because we always got something to say. And y'all, let me put a disclaimer and get started. I'm gonna be doing that for the next, well, probably to 2026. Disclaimers, but we're gonna talk about Trump $400 million jet was gifted to him. Texas governor race. We got a lot of people that's going to be running. That trouble in the DNC where they're trying to remove David Hodge from his vice chair. And this new bill that's coming up called the Separate But Equal. So we're going to talk about all these wonderful things. But this disclaimer, I do not endorse anybody on this show. Let's talk about stuff. Do not endorse anyone. But what we do is have a platform for people to come up here and we do what we do. We talk. You might like what we say, you might not, but you know what? Everybody have an opportunity to say what they want to say. Family, we be fighting, but it's love fight. So let me bring in my guests. See, they already getting started. I haven't even brought them up. That's what I'm talking about. That's what. Let me bring these folks up here because they're gonna continue on to our. I'm gonna put them all in timeout. All right.
Yeah.
What's going on, people?
Hey,
Hey.
how are y'all doing? Off Bustos. Off Bustos is doing well. I'm appreciating the fact I still get to vote. Not 100% sure I'll get to use the same facilities as the men. I don't know. I mean, at some point, Texas may just decide women are too weak to go into certain restaurants. I don't know. Haven't quite figured out this bill yet, but yeah, I'm hanging in there.
A lot of these crazy bills, I feel like it's going to wind up switching. You just never know what we're going to get. How's your week
you can have this
going?
many crazy bills?
I know.
Yeah,
My lighting is bad.
I'm exhausted.
Let me see if I can fix my lighting a little bit. Yeah, I have my husband left me by myself. So I'm going to have fun. Me and the dog, Bentley and I, because I have the house to myself again. I don't know what to do. So I want to without no interruption. So great. So Dale, how's your week going? It's hot.
It definitely is. It definitely is. It's thankfully I have functioning AC inside my house. As I just recently discovered today, the AC does not work in my car. So
Oh man.
yeah. But I think it's just one of those things where the Freon just eventually kind of seeps out. I think it's just needs another update of those. But how about you guys? How you faring the heat?
Oh, AC
I
man.
didn't like it.
Yeah, definitely.
100%. Yep. I'm done fanning myself. I just go from the house to the car,
Yeah,
to the car, to the gym. No.
yeah, there you go. Yep.
Miss Bosa, I know you got to be hot and you wearing that. We'll probably all be wearing it. See, I couldn't wear that because, I just I get hot. I don't need an air conditioner up under there.
Well, they're actually doing, I think it's a 50-51 June, was it June or I think June 14th when Trump is having his big parade at 11 o'clock where they're doing the counter parade for him, whatever, here locally. I got to get the details, but it's going to be a whole bunch of handmaids. It's a handmade protest.
Wow, nice.
Mhm.
Wow.
I will be there. I know,
That is
shocking.
going to be interesting.
Isn't it? I looked it up. There's like a whole thing about this. It's been going on since 2018. How did no one tell me?
It's yeah. I knew about it. I was watching it on Hulu, and I'm like, it's very.
Oh no, the movie, but they've been doing protest.
Oh, the protests.
Yeah, and not just in the U.S., like internationally.
Well, right
Oh
now
wow.
we're probably the most hated in the world. But
We've
we're
been
gonna
working
get
really hard at it. I mean, we've given it a lot of effort. I got to be honest. Trump put in a
Yeah.
lot of work to make to make the world hate us. I have to give him that.
Yeah.
yeah. Mr. Chris, you over there quiet. I see you ready. You suit this hot
Hey,
topic
I'm
this week.
good. I'm good.
Okay. You good? You
Yeah.
enjoying the heat?
I guess you can say that. I'm in the AC, that's for sure.
I hear you. I hear you. But yeah, I'm gonna tell y'all this. If you are and you just hit the 50 mark, please go make sure you go get your colonoscopy. It's a very good thing to go do. They'll check you out and make sure you don't have cancer or whatever
Yep.
body and stuff. Please go make sure you did it. You go out and go do that. I had mine done Monday, and I promise you the worst part about it is the prep because it was Mother's
Yeah. Yeah.
eat
Yeah.
anything and I have a bad shoulder on top of it. So I was
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
miserable.
Not eating
But
for
it's
24 hours is rough, man. That's the rough part. That's
I had a colonoscopy. I don't remember not eating, but it's been so long ago. The trauma I could have just blocked it out.
it was trauma.
yeah.
It was
Not eating
trauma.
for
I'm gonna
24
tell y'all.
hours. Mm.
Well, you
Not,
could eat like popsicles, and you could do like soda. You could do stuff like that, or you could do
yeah.
like broths. But you can't eat any solid food for 24 hours.
Oh yeah, I bet I probably drank those shakes.
Yeah.
And I'm just gonna tell you, for everyone else's safety, you want me to eat. It's
And
not really
you
me,
gotta
it's for you.
well when you Georgina, you have to go through it. You know, I was messing with my family on little marble chocolate cake, and I know I'm not supposed to be eating, but I do anyway.
Mhm.
And I said, hey, can you just come over here and just eat it in front of me so I can taste it in and be like, what is wrong with her? So he's eating, he's like, mom, you know, it tastes so good. I could taste the icing.
Oh no, I did a cleanse and you couldn't eat like any bread or meat. By day 5, it was meat free, bread free, carb free. I mean, I don't know what I was eating. Paul's over there like eating on a pizza, and I just immediately had to make out with him. I was like, I need to taste what pizza tastes like.
You know, that's when you know you have a problem, Georgina. That's when you know. And I'm a
Well, you
you,
don't do
sister.
cleanses.
I know I had a problem because when I came out of it, I was asking for a Dr. Pepper.
You always want a Dr. Pepper.
I
Look in your
know.
purse right now. I bet you got a Dr.
You
Pepper.
like Dr. Pepper?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't mess with Dr. Pepper, man. It's either it's
I
Coke.
had
I do all Coke product. I don't do no Pepsi. Um,
You have one
Sprite.
in your purse. We did Pepsi growing
Enjoy.
up.
Enjoy.
I do. It's something about those 23 flavors does something to me. I love my Dr. Pepper. And my husband said they gave me an
Enjoy.
apple. I want a Dr. Pepper.
I believe it.
So definitely what I want to tell everybody, hey, now it's 50 now, Chris, it don't drop down to I think 45. So if you're 45, please go get it checked. Make an appointment, go get it checked. If you have paid for it, I believe, depending on how your plan is, but please go get checked because they find things, the quicker they can help fix it so you can
Yeah.
survive through it. So that is
I just had one in November.
oh
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
Good. So you got 5 years too. So when you
5 years. Yeah.
okay, so 5 years from now, Chris, remind turn coming up.
Yeah. No, I'll remind you. I said, look, we'll get Dr. Pepper afterwards. How about that?
Hey,
Oh
that'll
God,
work.
mine might be ready to come up soon. It's been a while.
Hey, gotta get it done. Dell over there being quiet. He's like,
Yeah.
Dell, they give you
Actually,
drug and they knock you out.
yeah,
I think I got a couple of years where I have to do it again. It's really all about the prep. That's the worst part. And then the IV to go in to knock you out. But other than that, you're asleep, man. No one knows the
Yeah.
difference.
yeah. I was gonna say it's kind of funny that I saw this headline. I think I posted it on social media. The headline is, quote, "Small nodule found in Joe Biden's prostate during recent physical." And of course, the top comments on Reddit are all like, "I would like to unsubscribe from Joe Biden's prostate facts." And so saying like, "We're sorry to see you go. Please tell us why you wish to unsubscribe from Joe Biden's prostate facts. Is it because of spam? I'm no longer interested in Joe Biden's prostate. Joe Biden's prostate is too expensive. I've already Joe Biden's prostate, or I've already got Joe Biden's prostate at home."
That's hilarious, man.
I like it.
That's funny.
I can tell you like this here. I do not want any part of Joe Biden prostate. No,
Well,
but it's funny that you mentioned him because they're talking about. I was listening to this podcast. Yes, I listen to, but I was listening to this podcast earlier today, and they were talking about Joe Biden. Gonna go hand to hand with what's going on with the DNC. So we're gonna
ooh,
to
yeah,
that
let's get into that one.
yeah, because they're pretty much blaming the Democrats about having Joe Biden in office because he's supposed to have only been a one.
Mm-hmm.
So we definitely gonna talk about that. But y'all, I know y'all want to know what the today, so we're gonna get started and we're gonna talk about this $400 jet. What the heck is in this jet? Is what I want to know. But the
It's like 2 stories. And then not only that, but it needs another $10 million of retrofitting once they get it.
yeah.
Yeah, security purposes.
So Air Force
So
One
what-
isn't
yeah.
good enough?
So this is what was said.
Actually, he needs one of those Spirit jets. Put him on that.
We should. Yeah. Put him on one of those little American Eagle jets, like the original one from
Yeah,
1970.
that's what he deserves. Yeah.
We'll watch it run into a bridge or
Yeah.
small
Oh,
mountain.
we can't
I don't
say that. Disclaimer.
Yeah.
Hey, but
For entertainment
me.
purposes only.
yeah, this is just hey, this is entertainment. Dated on what's going on around the world and what's going on in United States because right now my going on in United States and big old Texas because we always in the stuff and while we Texas that $400 million plane is sitting over in San Antonio. Why is it? And
It's
it's
in San
in an
Antonio.
unsafe area. It's not protected. So anybody who wants to do anything, I guess they can get on there, bug the plane or whatever the case may be. But hopefully somebody else will send that plane back to wherever they got it from. And he
From
needs
Qatar,
to
yeah.
be.
He's not supposed to accept gifts like that, is he? I don't think the
No.
president is
Correct.
supposed
No.
to, period.
It clearly says in
Yeah.
the Constitution.
Right. Because it's from a foreign country.
Yeah.
You
Exactly.
absolutely are not supposed to.
Nope.
And what
Exactly. You're
blows
not
my
supposed to
mind,
do
too,
that.
is that I mean, Stephanie, you'll know this as well. We are supposed to record and put down all of our campaign contributions and announce that essentially. And at the Texas state level, we do that through something called the TEC or the Texas Ethics Commission. The federal level has a different way, but we all have campaign finance reports to fill out, even when you're elected. And it's mind blowing that this. I mean, it does violate the Hatch Act. It's not the first time Donald Trump has violated the Hatch Act. I think the first time he violated the Hatch Act was when he had a can of Goya on his desk in the Oval Office, and you cannot advertise like that. Like if Goya's giving you money,
Yeah, that's right.
you
Yeah.
cannot like advertise a business. So that would be like the first blatant time. Arguably, the second time that Donald Trump has violated the Hatch Act was that little show and tell he did with Elon Musk by sitting inside of a Tesla, given that Elon Musk has contributed a considerable amount of money to the Trump campaign, albeit maybe not directly, maybe it's more towards getting people to vote, but still those can at least
Buy votes either.
as in-kind donations. Because again, when you don't have to necessarily donate money to a candidate for it to be considered a donation, you give something of value of any kind of value that could be interpreted into dollars or be worth something in dollars, and that is what we call an in-kind donation. And so Elon Musk is at least very guilty of giving in-kind donations to Donald Trump, which in itself is technically not illegal. But if Donald Trump is then going to advertise any Tesla product in response to said in-kind donations, and that absolutely is considered a violation of the Hatch Act. And this should be as well. This is a foreign, I would call them an adversary who is giving something of a tremendous amount of value. So this is blatantly should not be allowed.
Yeah, I mean, they're
Yeah.
not giving him that jet because they just want to be nice. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Just saying, $400 million gift, and it's just free and you're not getting anything back. Either they receive something or they're getting ready to receive something. That's how I look at it. But I know
exactly,
right about now,
exactly.
everybody is having a fit because what he did is illegal, it's unethical,
Yep.
and something's going to be done with that. Shady business. It's shady, shady, shady. And I'm like, he should have just opened up one of his shell companies and had to do it that way. He know, I don't know who's running his camp right now, but they're making a decision that's going to make it bad for other people later on. And our Homeland Security person, she's just as dumb as bricks, because these are some of the things that she should be saying, no, we're not going to do that. That's against the law. That's
Right.
against the Constitution. You can't do that. It's like, to me, it seems like people are afraid to tell him no. And I'm like, y'all need to tell him no, time out or something. Take McDonald's away from him. Do something. Y'all know he like McDonald's. I bet you he go
Yeah.
through the drive-through every
Probably there right now.
day.
Mm-hmm.
He just sitting up here wondering when he's going to get on his jet. I bet you that jet got a McDonald's in it.
Ew.
Well, they had McDonald's prepared for him in a Qatar, but when he landed,
Yeah.
they had Big Macs ready for him. Seriously, yeah.
Isn't it the craziest thing ever?
It is
can't imagine
It's
nasty.
insane.
Fox News would be saying right now if Biden did this or Barack Obama received a donation
Exactly.
like this.
Yeah.
I mean, imagine the nuclear meltdown that Fox News would have.
Oh yeah.
Oh, heck yeah. Yeah,
Well,
that would be
Republican have done-
horrible.
Any of the stuff that Trump gets away with, no Democrat could do any of the shit that Trump gets away with. It is absolutely ridiculous, and they enjoy it. That's what I'm like. There is
Yeah,
no
they do.
going across the aisle. We just got to let Democrats know we are there to support them. That we are Democrats
Yeah.
and understand what that means. We have to be careful ourselves not to be too far left, or I don't know. I don't see us changing any, especially MAGA Republican, or if you still qualify yourself as a Republican, mind right now.
Well, you know what? I know there's a bunch of Republican people right now that's sitting up here, they're regretting their votes and they're questioning their party, so it's a lot of people not happy where they're sitting at right now. So that's something that
The funny part
hopefully
is, would they be questioning and regretting it? Oh, is Stephanie talking?
no.
Oh, okay. They would be questioning and regretting it if it hadn't affected them for the most part. Majority of them are only mad because, it affected them.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the way it usually always works.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Now here's
Maybe
the
we'll learn
It
from
works.
people like that, those MAGA Republicans, we only need like a small percentage of them to convert. So all you need is like maybe 2 or 3% of them to to vote Democrat. That's really all you need.
Well, MAGA's never going to. Maybe
I mean,
moderate
there's
Republicans
yeah,
are different. They're not
right.
MAGA. They're not.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But
They're the old school Republican that just wants to change, and they tired of them dipping in their pockets too.
People I used to be friends with, or am friends with, still am friends with those Republicans. I like them. not run on a Democratic ticket, but
Hey, you know what? I had a conversation, so let's talk about this. So, we just had this election going on, and I'm not going to say this person's name, but he was running for council for a particular city.
Mhm.
And of course, I meet him. I'm trying to do his meet and greet. And I asked him, what was his platform? What was he standing on? Because some you don't know what they are, but then
Mhm.
you have this conversation with him and then you pretty much know where they stand at. So he was like, yeah, I'm for vouchers. And so I said, stop.
Mm.
I said, first of all, you are a minority. How are you okay with them out of your public schools and giving it to private millionaires? Because I see this particular area over here. You ain't rich, boo. So a certain amount of people, over 100,000 kids, that will be able to get those vouchers. And it's going to be on a lotto system. Not only because you get a voucher does not mean those private schools are going to allow your kid to come certain racial what they want in their schools. And if your is a different color, have issues have issues, learning disability, have a physical disability, any type of your hair, you're not coming up in their school because they have a certain their school to look, and your student might not be that person that's going there. So I'm just
Right.
saying,
Yeah.
So I asked him, I'm like, listen, I'm like, I am straight up who I am, and I'm from that. I am who I am, and that's all I am. I stand 10 toes down, but I don't like function in our party. So that being said, and I told you knowing you've been around a long time, you in the 50 plus club, you know right from wrong on the wrong side of history. Because if you agree to nothing wrong, one day I wish I was rich too. I'm not jealous, but I'm like, maybe I had the perks, but I wouldn't away from public school for my child because I could afford to pay for my kid to go. These other people will not be able to afford it. And the guy was like, well, I understand. I said, so why would you be okay with vouchers? And he didn't have an excuse
They
way.
never
I
do.
said,
Yeah.
they they don't. And I told him, I said, listen, with this particular ISD is very well off. Usually the community or any type of bill or ask for money or something like that, we always grant them. We usually do. Now there's been time this last couple of elections we said heck no, because that's gonna and I'm like, do you have a home? He says yes. I said, so you got property tax. I said, did you check your mail lately? Did you see that your property tax went up? Yeah. I said, guess what? Guess what that money's not gonna go to?
Mhm.
I said, those new schools that were built over here? Guess who's not gonna be able to open them up if this goes on? And he had
Well,
to like he said, I didn't think about that. I said,
mhm.
those 400 teachers that we need in those locations, you're not going to get it because you don't have the money to pay for that. So this is the
Yeah.
reason why vouchers are a bad thing.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Well,
I
I
know
mean,
he's not going to come over here to our side because for some reason they think we like Dark Vader or something. But we got to talk to these folks so they understand. And I'm not talking they're already making plans and they do whatever they want to do and they don't care about the little people. The little people that's just like us, the hardworking people, the essential workers. So they do it like the peanut butter jelly concept. Break it down to them so they understand this is why we're in an uproar because this is going to hurt the communities that are, and then it's also going to hurt the rural areas really bad.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
well, I mean, Besides just the vouchers, I mean, if we funded our schools, vouchers wouldn't matter as much. And when I say funded, I don't mean on some arbitrary number that the state decides and our legislators say this is what our schools deserve. No, the number comes from the ISDs, and the ISDs say, I need this much, and then that's what they fund, because that's what the Constitution says it should do, is fully fund our schools. At that point, I mean, if your schools are funded, vouchers are not as important because they haven't started out our schools to make people want to go somewhere else. They want to stay next door to where the rest of their friends are going and their neighbors are
Right.
going to school.
Right.
But right now we got HB2 that's stuck in the Senate. They're having a hearing on it tomorrow. They've already got vouchers pushed through, so that's a done deal right now. We are still $5 billion shy on what we need, meaning if this bill goes through, hopefully that or more. I was reading an email today from one of the ladies that attends all the school board meetings here in Denton County, or Denton ISD. And last night, I guess they had said they will still be, I want to say, $10 million deficit, 19 million if it doesn't go through, and 10 million if it does.
Oh wow.
Mm-hmm.
So it's upsetting.
Crazy.
So this is without the voucher issue.
And that's just Denton ISD.
That's just Denton ISD. Remember, Denton
Wow.
was
Yeah.
24 million negative that we had in that report. I think, it's been so long. It was either 24, 21, and then Louisville around 20 something. Then Frisco was 31 million. Dallas ISD was $186 million, all deficit, just a few school districts. But in that, just kind of give you an idea, it was over $250 million. Now that every school district in our area is in deficit. I don't think there is one that I'm aware of that isn't. Little Elm ISD may or may not be, but the rest of them I know all are.
Majority
Yeah.
of the
Yeah.
whole states, because y'all know about what's happened to cut, not cut. They're closing some of their elementary schools. So a lot of the parents went out to that meeting. What's today? Today's Wednesday. So to the meeting to have a conversation with the superintendents and stuff about the.
Which
It looks like a
school?
lot of the elementary schools are going to be closing, and the question came out: what are you going to be doing with all these vacant buildings? I'm gonna tell you, I said this before. What's going to wind up happening?
Mm-hmm.
You get to charter schools, those private schools. So anybody that wants to school, they're gonna go and buy those buildings, and then they're gonna wind up having the money to fund it because it's a private school, and they're gonna get money for that.
It
And I'm
depends.
like, the money.
They,
Go
I
ahead.
mean, they can resource that building in a different way because based on the Constitution, that building doesn't, I don't know if it actually has to be used for education, so I can't speak on that, but it is considered a way that we fund our schools. Land and that the building that they have in their ISDs that's already been designated for the schools or for the ISD is part of their funding. So if they're able to, and say, let's say, not sell it, but repurpose it for something else that's not education related or is education, let's go with trade school. These may be better ideas where you're not competing for charter schools or you don't have to worry about a private school coming in. But at the same time, it may be able to make up some of that difference that the legislators refusing to pay. Now, on the other hand, if the legislator comes out and says, and I don't know exactly how this would work, I know property taxes, they can, which is why they're able to do the Robin Hood effect. They're able to make laws based on the Constitution. I don't know if land works that way. I feel like they would be able to keep all of that like they do when they have vaders and bonds.
Yeah.
Well, that's something that we'll probably have to do a lot of research on and stuff, because I'm with you on that. I believe that there are other ways that we can utilize vacant schools,
Mhm.
but I don't know. I really think that they're going to wind up selling it to private
Yeah.
private companies.
Well,
Yeah.
let's throw out there
Right.
that they don't, and they repurpose it, and they make money off of it.
I think they're
Throwing that
going
out
to do
there.
right, because it sounds like what you're saying, Georgina. It sounds like some right side of history. They're not going to do right. They're going to find a crookeder way to.
But our
in
school,
effect,
but our ISD board members are not our legislators, and our legislators, I don't believe, get to choose. I could be wrong, But if it's the ISD that gets to choose what happens to those schools and those buildings, most of the people on the board actually care, and they do want the funding. They don't want vouchers. They don't want charter schools. So selling
Oh,
them to somebody who would turn it into that would not be in the interest of, I mean, almost
Yeah.
90% of the people I know on the school boards. So I'm
well,
hoping
Yeah.
because
that they have
Elon
more
Musk
sense
might
than that.
decide he wants to buy them all.
Yeah. So
Mhm.
I think what Georgina is talking about is, and that might be more of a joint effort between the ISD and also the county commissioners, because I know
Mhm.
the county commissioners are
Yeah.
the ones who oversee the county level buildings. So, for example, if you had like a county run recreational center, let's say, for example, like, all right, like we need to, if we cannot use this building for a school anymore, perhaps the county can turn it into a recreational center and then attempt to take the funds that is made or any surplus funds that are made from having that
Mhm.
recreational center and send that money to the schools. That would be one way we could try. I mean,
Ultimately, to lease it out.
yeah.
Yeah.
Now, granted,
Yeah.
we're so much in a deficit right now in our ISDs. I don't perceive that as being something that will save our public education system because we're just so much far in the red right now. We're so much far in the negative, but it's definitely worth trying, I would say, and advocating for.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
Uh,
you're looking at that being
For
a
them to
difference
turn it into
between
schools.
if you're looking at the difference between them selling the schools and trying to make a little bit of money, but then I mean you're talking just a couple of years later losing money because they've lost more kids versus just go ahead and leasing it out. It's a much great. The gain is a lot more than it would look like if you're just looking in black and white.
yeah.
Yeah.
Just because you don't want to lose what $15,000 per child or whatever it is in school funding because
Yeah.
you lost them over to a private school or to a charter school. But Dale's
Yeah.
right. That alone is not going to fully fund our schools. The legislators
Yeah.
have to fund our schools.
Yeah, so the basic
Yeah.
allotment needs to be increased, but it's devastating because I think one of the line items we had in our agenda to talk today about was about some schools closing down. I think in the Fort Worth area, I believe I saw that.
Yeah, it's Fort Worth area that's closing down. I want to say it's 3 schools that will be closing, and there's like 400 teachers in the Houston ISD that will not be returning come we got a lot of issues that's going on throughout Texas, and that is going to bring us to our next subject talking point is Texas governor race for 2020. I feel like I don't know about you all, but I feel like been in office forever, and I'm like, I just want him to go away. Go away. Don't
Me
come back,
too.
you know. But we do have great people that are putting their hats in the ring. On yesterday at Nick Pappas, he will be running for governor as well. I got a chance to really talk to him and ask him some questions. So I'm looking forward to come on to the show sometime before the month is out and ask some more questions and for everybody to get a chance to meet him and see what you think about him. So you just never know what's going to wind. But I hope we have a strong person that deep pockets already that's going to be able to go against Abbott.
Yeah,
You
absolutely.
can't be broke trying to go against a giant, and that's what he is. He's a giant, and he got the 2 billionaires is funding him. So we definitely going to have to make sure that we have capable of raising money. We're going to have to be raising money for this person and do right by them.
Yeah, absolutely. I will also say this: the governor's race was definitely going to be a big major thing coming up in these 2026 midterm election cycle.
Yeah.
I I think I was saying this earlier, but this I might have said it before we went live on in this thread. I believe that there will be multiple candidates in a multi-way primary on the Democratic side of the aisle, and I'm really hoping that James Tellerico steps up to this role. He might step up for something else instead. I see that James Tellerico is making his way around the state, so given that this guy's representative area is around the Austin area, I believe. But the fact I'm seeing him come all the way up to Wichita Falls, which is farther north than here, he even came out to the Frisco Democratic Club as well. Seems like he's going to run for something larger. But at the same time, too, I do not expect to see anyone else claim that they are going to run for governor until the session is over. And I'm not quite sure if you were still having audio problems at the time, Stephanie. So I'll say this just in case, just so that you can catch this as well. The state house representatives, from what I understand, cannot receive donations right now at this very moment in time, because there was once upon a time there was a state house representative who was giving checks to other representatives on the House floor in broad daylight whenever they would vote in favor for his bills. This, of course, was terrible optics, and so the state house said, all right, we're going to pass a law that says that state house representatives cannot receive donations during active session. Now, that doesn't stop anyone from announcing that they're going to run for governorship. But if someone is going to say that they are a gubernatorial candidate, it's wiser to kick that announcement and campaign kickoff off on a day where you can receive donations, because that's supposed to be a big fundraising event. Usually when people have their campaign kickoff, it's a fundraising event. And since James Tellerico cannot do a fundraising event right now, since he cannot receive donations at this moment in time, it could be why he has not announced whatever he is going to run for next yet. But come the end of the session, I expect a couple of different candidates to announce. I don't know if James is aiming for the governorship or not. We will see. I believe Vicki Goodwin was going for the attorney general. And I'm sure we're going to see several other candidates step up as well. But I'm expecting a very large Democratic primary for this position.
It definitely will be a lot. From what I know right now, I think there are 6 people that are getting ready to put their name into the hat.
Now, Vicki Goodwin
is about 2 that's going to be running for U.S. Senate. We'll see how this goes. I wish everybody luck, and come on to Let's Talk About It. Welcome. Everybody's welcome to come on here, and we just want to talk to you and find your thoughts. So what can you do to change Texas around? I'm like this here, partisan. I don't care. You come on here, let's talk about it, because that's why it's called Let's Talk. We're going to talk. Yep. And we're going to ask you some hard questions. So don't be scared to come on here. We questions and stuff, because if you can survive us and Roland Martin show anywhere.
Right.
I think Vicki Goodwin was running for lieutenant governor.
Yeah,
lieutenant governor. Okay.
During the summertime that she was going to probably run for that. But, like Dell said, that is true. You cannot run while they're in session. Anything, they got to close out one thing and open up another one. So it's all kind of little fun. I do know that we got a lot of candidates that's going to be running off the state of Texas, and I want to make sure that everybody knows to go vote if you haven't. If you have an 18-year-old that's getting ready to graduate or whatever the case may be, you're 18, get them registered to vote. If you're married, before this law comes in, get all your paperwork so that you'll have, and I'm going to tell you like this here, because I'm going to have to go do it, go get a passport.
Hey, isn't the tech, I can't tell what's going on.
I can hear you. I can hear you, Georgina. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. The Texas driver's license, when you have that star or whatever, I have that.
I do
think
too.
That works too. If it was
I
to pass.
Too.
Yeah.
But the star is you need that star, I think, in order to travel as well, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's for traveling and going into federal buildings. But what they're trying to is that bill to
voting.
Yeah, but that's something that's in DC that not passes. So I hope they don't pass that bill. It sits, and because I'm like this here, who wants to go look for the? Can you imagine your grandmother that's 100 years to find her marriage license? No, her birth certificate.
That's crazy.
It's gonna fall apart, and it's not digital. So
Oh, don't worry. You can take You can take your elderly grandma. Go get a new one. She don't mind. Just get her an Uber. She'll be fine. That's sarcasm.
Yeah, yeah, and
Yes.
don't forget about the grandmas that like been married 5 or 6 times. Now you got to go get all those marriage stuff to say, hey, and what is your marriage license and your divorce decree? I'm like, that's too much work. Who keeps all that stuff?
My
So,
Nobody.
husband, he has all my marriages and all my divorces in a file. Oh yeah, I mean, I never knew where it
Georgina,
was.
everybody doesn't have a Paul.
Everyone needs a Paul. Yes, he's an accountant. Everything has got its space, and every space has got its place, or however that goes. So yeah, if I don't know where a document is, he does. I just call him. It's like, where'd it go?
See, that's awesome.
Until I misplace it, then he has to backtrack me. But it happens.
Yeah,
So,
I wish
ladies, go
I
get
was
you a Paul that keeps up with all your paperwork. Of
Uh-huh.
course, I'm just missing one little thing, but I got everything, and I'm like, I probably. But at the end of the day, so I'm just giving y'all married. Go get all your paperwork, have it in one folder, have it together to go
Mhm.
register to vote and go to vote and make sure you have your stuff. But like I said, we probably will have to wind up doing is having a passport because that trumps everything.
I think it
Yeah,
would just be easier. I'm bringing in. I need a cart. I'm just saying. I mean, it's going to be a big file. It's going to be a couple of files. I've been adopted
Georgina, they
at
gonna hate
18,
seeing
then I've been
you.
married a few times. I don't even know where I was born. I was born in South Carolina, adopted, and it just gets really crazy.
You might tell anything else because you might have somebody knocking at your door, sending you over in what is it,
I know. I
Elsa?
feel like I should not say
You
another
know,
word. Yeah.
Or Lydia.
We'll be
right?
dressed like this permanently.
Girl, it'd be too hot there.
So I'll be the first
Come
cat to be
on.
sent to El Salvador or someplace. And uh
I'm like, oh Lord, from that because we don't want you wind up being shipped out to El Salvador or
it is a real
place.
concern. I mean, with my mouth and as much as I speak up, and I don't have much of a filter.
Hey,
yeah. Unfortunately, it's not even a joke. I saw a news article about some stream twitcher or somebody, I guess some online influencer who was just had a lot of negative things to say about Donald Trump, and ICE had to interview him. And that's got to be a very scary thing, even just to be
yeah,
interviewed because with everything that's
Yeah,
going on. That can be very, very intimidating, and to a country which is supposed to care very greatly about freedom of speech. I mean, we have right wingers talking about freedom of speech absolution to the point they get deeply anti Semitic, like Nick Fuentes, for example, or
Mhm.
even deeply racist, like Alex Jones at InfoWars. And all these same people claim to have freedom of speech absolution. Yet, if you have something negative to say about Trump, ICE is going to investigate you or interview,
Mhm.
right? And
yeah.
this is,
A
it's,
one
That's
way.
the hypocrisy.
yeah, it's
Mhm.
yeah,
intimidation. They say they care about freedom of speech, but apparently, I guess we all. It was the George Orwell's 1985 quote: "We are all free, but some people are more free than others." I guess that
Yeah.
applies
Mhm.
to our speech as well.
yeah.
Well,
But
It's sad.
what we can't do is, I mean, we just have to keep at it. I mean, there's no other choice. I mean, because if we don't speak out or we don't, then we're complicit. So,
Yeah,
mhm.
Yeah,
Exactly. Chris is right. If we don't speak out, we agree to it.
yeah. But this is how America was built. Everybody did not agree with everything, how things were set up. And first of all, if people remember the history, England are the worst over here because they didn't want those folks in their country, so they kicked this
that's
way.
right. Yep.
Kicked
So
out
this
who?
is how, yeah. So this is how everything was built. From the start of England kicked your butt out because you were thieves, you were robbers, you did all the bad.
Yeah.
Yep.
You over here, and here it is 2025, and we're back and doing bad stuff. It's not me. You're doing bad stuff, and you think that nobody's gonna check you, but you know what? Come,
Mhm.
you're gonna get checked. Come 2026, you're gonna get checked because people are tired of crap that's going on, and they want to change, and they want to get you out of office because you don't make no sense. and you're coming up with these dumb bills that make no sense. Like name the Brandon Gill. You're you're not
Oh
very
my
bright,
God.
son.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
I
want to
mean,
put Trump on $100 bill? Why? It makes no sense.
yeah,
Who
that's
wants to
Here in
stupid.
codify?
Texas, we got water issue out here in Texas. We got electric bill out here. Why don't you make a bill about that?
Yeah,
Well, no,
absolutely.
because he wants to codify all of Trump's executive orders into law. Every last one of them. It's insane.
He's on crack.
They would be singing a
Yeah.
different tune if a Democrat was president. I tell you, I always
Yeah.
say this. I think this is sometimes why I feel like some of the Republicans who are actually not insane, who kind of understand what's going on here, they may think like, oh shit, we need to like break the system now to a point where a Democrat can never win again. Because if you give the power of the president, this if you give this much power to the president of the United States, what happens when a Democrat wins? I mean, if you make the president a god king who has unchecked power, well, then if you have a Democrat president next, then that Democrat will then have god king like unchecked power, right?
If
I
they
mean,
choose to,
yeah,
Washington had the same thing if he wanted it, but he chose not to. The next person that
Right.
comes in office, I think it'll be a lot about what their choices are. Do they want to go back and actually respect the Constitution and obey the law of order?
yeah, I
Or are we
know.
going to continue on this
The
insane path?
sad difference between Democrats and Republicans is that we see at this point Republicans do not respect the Constitution. We see that they're
No.
going to do every
Yeah.
power grab that they possibly can, and
Mhm.
Democrats tend to not do that. I mean, it's a good thing to respect the Constitution, and I believe we still should. But boy, oh boy, does it feel kind of unfair and imbalanced. One example of this would be, what was it, breaking the filibuster law? Or, I can't remember if it was a filibuster or not, but Democrats did have a trifecta when Joe Biden was the president.
Yes.
And
Yes.
we could have raised the minimum wage. And I'm very
Yes.
disappointed that the
Mhm.
Democratic Party didn't decide to end the filibuster or just do what they called
Well,
the nuclear deal and
well,
just go.
it was two Democrats, and I'll let you continue, Dale. It was Joe Manchin and Kristen Sinema. Those are our two stumbling blocks.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Again, we could have had the minimum wage raise. We could have had Build Back Better. We could have had a green, but it was those two, Kristen Sinema
Yeah.
and Joe Manchin.
Okay.
They need
I'm
primary
glad
now
you mentioned
or to
it.
retire.
To our next scene about the DNC, David Hodge. He's the vice chair. I'm glad you mentioned that, Chris, because this guy is, I believe he's 28 years old, and
Mhm.
he was elected in
25.
February. Huh?
He's 25.
Oh, he's
So
20. Oh
he's
my God,
young.
he's my son's age.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
he's a young with a vision, right?
Mhm.
He's a young man with a vision, and they want to basically strip him away from that because they want to rescind it. And I guess they're gonna go and revote somebody else in. But this guy is not going down without a fight. David Hodges is definitely trying to fight to keep.
So what's wrong with
And
them?
what? Oh, you. Thank you for asking. Let me tell you. With him is he spoke his mind. I need to have him on this show.
Mhm.
He spoke his, and he told them that these old, I call people dinosaurs, no disrespect. If you were in office when JFK was alive, it's time for you to go.
Okay, I can't
Well,
disagree with that.
exactly. So, wait,
Away
hold on,
from
hold on.
time.
He didn't say exactly like that. What he was saying was that if you're in office and you're not effective, then you should go. It's not automatically because you're old.
Mhm.
See, that's what people get
Right.
that
But
confused.
that's funny.
Chris, me saying that. That was me saying that. If you've been in
Oh, that's
office when JFK, I'm just adding what he really wanted to say. I'm just saying what he really wanted to say was that right there. No, you need to come on
hey.
think about this.
Stephanie
Nothing against
said,
old people.
"Get your old ass out."
Nothing against our seniors because they are great to have, but
Uh-huh.
it comes in your life, and that's why I believe in term limits. It comes a time
Mhm.
in your life where you have to do what the country, just like they wanted what was best for the country and have Joe Biden to step aside. Really, truly believe they should have did that before primary. They should have said, you know what, you need to go. But they didn't do that. Some people, they claim this is a lie, that it was being covered up about his health. But I'm like this here. You can't cover this stuff up. The man was old. We all knew that he was probably getting, and he should have been retired. I love me some Joe Biden. I think he did good for the country. But when we needed him the most, and he did his job, regardless of what anybody said, the man did. This is
He did a
what
great
came out.
job. He just
Yeah, I believe
should have
he
not
did.
ran twice. That was his downfall.
Being a
Was he decided to
one-term
run again.
president, but they didn't do right. And I'm gonna talk about, they didn't do right by making sure we had somebody ready to go. They didn't.
Right, you're right. Yeah.
They should have already had plans in place 4 years before. When he was said he was going to run, you should have already had your person ready. You failed. So you can sit up here and blame Joe Biden and VP, say whatever you want to say. At the end of the day, you elite Democrats are the problem. Our party, y'all need to change, because how are you going to beat when you keep thinking in 1912? That is why we're having the issues that is why women lost the right to go vote. That is why women are having the issues that DEI is being taken away. That's why affirmative action has been taken away.
Well,
they're trying to take away your right to go vote. That's why we having people being killed because of the color of their skin and because they don't speak proper English or don't speak English at all, and being sent to foreign countries that they don't know anything about. That is why we're having the issues that we're having. I'm on our party, but I'm gonna tell y'all, it is time for change, and we got to stop up and start working together and moving people in the right direction. And that's my little soap in the people. And I believe that we got to change the direction, because what happened years ago is not gonna work. This is a new time. We got digitals, and y'all cannot adopt these young people. I'm old. You cannot move without these young people, because guess what? The bad decisions that we made is affecting their generation. We're on the wrong side of history. Can fix it. Is we got to work together to make a better change.
Yeah, and I will say, going back to Mr. Hogg's idea of saying, well, if you're not effective, and I'm not sure if he really necessarily meant old, but I think that there is a feeling about that as well, because it's not just about Joe Biden, it's also about Mitch McConnell and how he froze up. And I think he's finally going to no longer seek re-election, but we also have other representatives. For example, the Democrat House representative from California, I think her name was Dianne Feinstein. She, passed away while holding office. We see this as a common thing when we don't have limits on terms. Without term limits, we see that people they, for some reason, they just want to hold on to power. And it's sad. Like, I feel bad for Dianne Feinstein, because, it is her fault for holding on to power. But, honestly, if you have run as long as she has, she deserves to retire. Right? So I do feel that
we deserve her to retire.
Yeah. And on top of that, too, the weird thing is that systems of checks and balances here is a little bit mixed. For example, in Texas, we were having an election for our Supreme Court. And one of our Democratic candidates, I think, was like 73 years old. And a lot of us were saying, hey, we actually do have age limits here in Texas. If you're a judge at that level in Texas, as soon as you turn 75, you are forced to retire. So there are some limitations, right, depending upon the situation. There are some city councils, not all of them, but there are some city councils that do have term limits. I remember that there was one, I think it was in Carlton City Council, an individual I had to step aside because he ran for too many terms. The Supreme Court, on the other hand, it's complete opposite. That has absolutely no term limits. In addition to that, is a lifetime appointment, and that is very easily manipulated, because essentially what some what a power grabbing individual will do is they'll elect someone who is young rather than electing someone who is qualified, elect someone who's both loyal and young. And that's a way to
Yeah.
manipulate that. So we definitely need to do away with the whole concept of lifetime appointments. We definitely need to have term limits, absolutely, for sure. And maybe we can also think about age restrictions and age limits as well, just like we have on high level judges here in Texas.
See, you know what, to add to that, I'm with you. I believe in term limits and age, into the age a little bit. But I also think that don't, because we need our seniors to kind of like mentor us a little bit, to be on some type of committee to where they can help mentor this next generation,
Yeah.
because you see how the history is being stripped away. They're not going to know what to do because the books are being taken out of the schools, or what they need to know how to survive. So the best way how you do that is they mentor. And I really think, I know people are like, I don't have time to mentor. Listen,
You gotta
you
do
have
it.
time. If you're breathing, you have time. You have time to mentor. It takes you 15 minutes. Give them something to do better, something how to work through, strategize on things, and listen to these young people. You know, your elders, because they do have a lot of knowledge. We have to wind up working together in order to fix this disaster that we're in right now.
Yeah.
Because I'm afraid that if we don't step in and do something and work towards a future for tomorrow, there's not going to be a tomorrow. And
Yeah.
the freedom we have now will be gone.
Absolutely. Yeah. Here's one thing I want to say, and I think Steph and Dale, I mean, Georgiana, you guys are in position. I think what it is within the Democratic Party, I'll take the state level first, is to really put pressure on the state party leadership, county party leadership, to give resources to candidates, because that's one thing I kept hearing, as a post mortem, is that candidates did not have resources. So whoever has that ear, keep putting that pressure. Hey, give our candidates resources, and then up to the national level. I mean, no, that's the thing, is that the Democratic Party is run by a group of consultants, and they don't really have the pulse of what's going on with the people. And I think it's up to us, as much as possible, put pressure on those people. Say, hey, this is what we want. This is what we need, and and then slowly get those, like that consultant class, out of there, because that's what's hurting us. I think that's what hurt us in the last election.
Chris, I totally agree with you. Um, Correct. Everything starts with the state, with the party chairs and down to the county chairs. They have got to do a better job. I know I can't speak for Dale, but I know for myself, when I ran for office, I did not get resources that I needed
Yeah.
the first 3 quarters. I didn't get help until almost at the end, and you literally begging for help. But at that time, it's like, what are you coming to help me with? I'm already where I need to be at. But it
Right.
does need something. County chairs need to do a better job in making sure that whether they're new or repeat, they need to work with them so they can, even if they lose, you still need to work with them so they can be better for the next time that they.
Absolutely.
I can tell you, man, I made some mistakes, but I learned from my mistakes what to do so I don't make those same mistakes again. But these new people that are coming in, no, and we as a party, I'm gonna say this, and now I'm gonna let somebody else talk. Party, we need to quit eating up our folks.
Yes. Yes.
Bring them in the fold, because what's going on that I've been seeing, beat them up, and then you expect them to stay loyal to you.
Mm-hmm.
You keep slapping that dog and being ugly to that dog. Do you think that dog is not going to bite you?
Exactly.
Oh,
Exactly.
If you're mean to a dog constantly, one day that dog is going to bite you. And that is something that we, as this side over here, stop doing that. We need to stop beating up on people that want to take a chance, because it's hard to put your name on a ballot or say, hey, I want to run, and you got everybody finna get ready to slash your throat on the other side. You don't need in
Exactly.
the house. You know what I'm saying? So that's just my spill on it. I think we need to do a in making sure that we take care of our folks better and groom them to be better.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree. I will say this about the Democratic Party and about the county level and the state level and the Democratic parties. I'll say I think we need to improve. One area of improvement is our training programs. Collin County had a phenomenal training program. I went to it myself. I learned so much. It was hosted by Liz Mitchell. Unfortunately, I think she switched to another role, and I don't know if the Collin County Democratic Party still has the same training program anymore. But it definitely helped tremendously to rehearse my stump speeches, being given some, not criticism, but ideas on how to improve my stump speeches. I was given a microphone. I was told to stand on a stage. I was critiqued upon the way that I dressed and things like that. That was a phenomenal course that they used to have.
Oh,
Now, aside from that, I will say I have not attended the Denton County Democratic Party's training program yet. I
I don't
think they have
even know if
one
they even
coming.
have one.
I know they have like
Yeah.
some sort of informative session upon what it takes to run for office. But one thing we do have in Denton County, and I'll plug this group, is Progressive Toastmasters. It's actually probably the next best thing I that has helped me
Yeah.
out past the Collin County Democratic Party's training program. Progressive Toastmasters is a regular Toastmasters club, but it's a place where you can feel safe to speak about democratic values. And it's every single Monday at 7 p.m. So it's really, really convenient and nice to be able to stand in front of people and speak. And you can do it ad hoc during our table topics, or you can choose to speak as well. And I will say this about Toastmasters in public speaking. Public speaking is like a muscle. You got to go to the gym in order to get your muscles strong. But even when you
Yeah.
get your muscles strong after going to the gym for a while, if you stop going to the gym, well, you're going to lose your muscles. Public speaking, much like a muscle, needs to be made and honed, and then it also needs to be preserved. And so that's why I still go to Toastmasters even these days. So those are two things that help candidates. We've had a lot of people who've run for office in our Progressive Toastmasters Club. We even have a couple sitting representatives right now. One of our Carlton City Council members sometimes comes out to our Toastmasters Club. So that's a pretty nice way of helping out Democrats. In terms of funding candidates from the county level, I will say, like, it would be nice if they did. I've learned to not expect that. I remember former State House Representative Michelle Beckley. She had a lot to say about what it took to run for office, and she was very disappointed. And she like sat me down and said, "Dale,
That's
don't
my
expect
point.
any money."
That's my
Right?
point.
I will say I can see how it would be difficult because, let's say, for example, if you have a surplus of funds and then you split your surplus of funds across all the candidates, if you have a lot of candidates, then the amount of money each candidate will receive is going to be quite low. I mean, I was very thrilled to receive money from the Frisco Democratic Club. This was before I was the president, and I was just a candidate at the time. And I was. It was nice to receive money, but to be honest, in terms of the grand scheme of things, it felt like it wasn't that much. And I was thinking to myself, like, well, what's going on here? Then I realized, oh wait, it's because they gave money to so many different candidates that
Yeah.
the big surplus that they had was split up into tinier portions. So I can see from that angle because I knew what the budget was for the Frisco Democratic Club back then. And then to see how much money I received as a candidate, I realized, oh, it's because of the aspect of division. When you divide a money pot across that many candidates, then it's gonna diminish with each division. So it's a complicated thing, but I think definitely the training programs help. I wish Collin County would bring that back. Maybe Denton County can have one as well. And also thank goodness for Progressive Toastmasters, so we at least have them.
Yeah, I received a lot of help from Tarrant County and Dallas County, helping me with that. So you're absolutely right. There are some counties that will help, but I must say like this here, a lot of times it's not about the funding, even though it is. Even like with Denton County, they added me with their flyers that they were sending out. So that helped. I didn't have to worry about. So they did do something. It might not have been a whole lot,
Hmm.
with the budget that they had, they did that part. So I didn't have to worry about that piece right there. But as far as the training thing, I really think that right now is the time you identify who you have as candidates, whether they're going to be running in 2026 or 2028. Go ahead, start developing them, get them ready for success. Start having them come be precinct chairs and work with the in a way so they understand. Have them to go block walk right now in registration. Go have them to go register to be a registered person.
Yeah.
Yes, that
Voting
way it
registrar.
helps. Yeah, so those are the little. I'm telling you, it might be little, but at the end of the day, it's gonna wind up being big.
Yeah, and I
Every
will
little
also
thing that
say,
we as
oh,
a
sorry.
unit will help.
Yeah, and I will also say this. I forgot to mention this. Our Flower Mound Democratic Club, Laura Haynes, is saying precinct chairs are the county party, and we work our backsides off for candidates, and precinct chairs are a phenomenal resource. So that is also another way that we do get support from our party. I just want to make sure that we don't forget that, because I tell
Sure.
you, I would have never been able to win my runoff election if it weren't for the support of my fellow precinct chairs here in Denton County. Also,
Well,
Laura is saying that TWU offers a candidate training course. I'm blanking on what that stands for. I remember hearing that.
Texas Women's
Texas
University.
Women's.
Texas women,
Yeah,
yeah.
they do. You just got to apply for it.
I think a lot of candidates,
And I want to say
when
that,
they come, I'm sorry, Jordan. Go ahead.
yeah, Dale, Chris, and I are all precinct chairs.
Yeah.
We've all worked our butt off. I know that during this last election, I know Chris and I worked our butt off, especially for Adalia. And then
Yes.
I was between Little Elm, Providence Village, and what was it, Denton? I know Flower Mound area Democrats did a lot as well. But
Yeah.
I understand like so much is like a lot of this party support that we get are from our precinct chairs as well as
Yeah.
a lot of the clubs, which I mean, Laura Haynes is good about using or having Flower Mound area Democrats be active as well, which is a lot, I think, probably where some of her precinct chairs come from. Anique with Dems at 380 is really good about it. She's amazing. I mean, they really teamed up. I think we got some credit with didn't together, but with for Anique helping. But Dems at 380 showed up amazingly well for Adalia. And then, so then Gerald, he's also a precinct chair. He was helping, but it takes a team. It really does take an army. And the more precinct chairs we have,
You need more boots on the ground.
the better we will do, the more likely we are to win. If you want to look at the map of the precinct chairs, Republicans are completely full. I think we got about a third of ours.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah, because I know last November we were very short of precinct chairs over in Carrollton area, and that's an area that we really needed the help. Over in Carrollton and a little bit of Louisville. Now I'm Laura Haynes, Gina Dell,
Really.
Denise Wooden. We were out there, and Donica was out there really helping me out on my. So I can tell you that there are in the Denton County area, and then I had a host of that were over in Tarrant County in the Dallas area that were helping us. what y'all are saying, which is very true. Our precinct chairs are so very, because they can reach people that we can't reach, because 300,000 people that you need to touch, you
Can't do that
you can't
alone.
touch all those doors.
Hmm.
You need help,
Hmm.
Yeah.
So we definitely need to give our kudos for what they did, because everyone for this 2025 election, they bust their butts to try to help make sure that the candidates were seen and heard. Now, pamphlets and everything and making phone calls, they did work hard for our 2025 election.
Hmm.
People were working hard. So, precinct chairs, thank y'all for
Yeah, because
working hard. This
I
ain't
think,
over. The fat lady having some. We got to keep going.
Yeah,
well, and I
absolutely.
think I think like Lantana was pretty big over in Denton area for their ISD. I know
Yeah,
Laura was very helpful in getting Sheila Taylor elected. Judy Clay right now is rebuilding back at Carrollton Democrats, which they're having their first meeting coming up next week. Or I don't think it's the first, but their first official, like really big meeting in years. So by 2026, Republicans need to be scared. We're not giving up.
yeah.
We didn't get tired. We got pissed and
Nope.
motivated.
That's right.
We got some good precinct chairs out there, and I can say, regardless of on last year, I really appreciate our county chairs because they did get people elected. It was a rough ride for everybody, because
Mhm.
we but you know what? You pull yourself up by the boots and you keep going. Don't stop.
Yep. Yep.
Mhm.
Let's work together. Let's not be trying to tear one another down. Let's keep
Mm.
work together so that 2026 we are getting seats, and we're not going to have somebody going over to the other side. You know,
Right.
we need to
I
make
don't want anybody coming to the
decisions.
other side and infiltrating too. But yeah, so
Oh, we have people that's in DC right
we
that
had four
voted
people vote
to
for the
shut
Save
Al
Act.
Green up.
Yeah,
You
that's
know, we
4.
crazy.
have,
Mm-hmm. So
and,
it
and
goes
and
both
then
ways.
we have people trying to shut Jasmine Crockett up too.
Mhm.
That's in our like this here. Y'all, this bipartisan thing. I don't care who's on here. You know, the Democrats are going to be on here, so get over it.
Mhm.
But
That's right.
this is where it's at.
Yeah.
Dems, we got to work together.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Right? Because when mom and dad is fighting, so they're gonna be fighting amongst each other, and when they go after school, they're gonna be up there fighting, but they're not fighting in the right way. So you got all kind of toxic and dysfunctional things. Instead of us agree to disagree to agree, let's work together. Let's go ahead and take our country back. Let's go
Right.
ahead and change the way how get off our ass and start getting out and going to go vote like we're supposed to. Let's go and tell the they need to know, because people are tired. They want to hear the truth. They're tired of stuff that's going on.
Absolutely.
They're afraid that they're not going to be able to pay their rent, their mortgage, or on they can't put food on their table. Their people are tired and they want to change. So the only change is we as a Democratic Liberal Party, we got to start working together, and we got including these young people in here.
Yeah.
So I know we're time and we didn't get a chance to talk about the separate but equal. Chris,
Yeah. Yeah. You know what?
getting signed
I
off.
got I got two things I want to say. And then I've got to bounce.
Yeah.
Okay. So first of all, on the party standpoint, um, we have to keep pushing the party to the direction we want it to go.
Mhm.
Two prime examples of that are if you go back and you look at Fannie Lou Hamer, and then look at what Jesse Jackson did and Bernie Sanders. They pushed the party to the progressive point is right now. So what we got to do is keep pushing the Democratic Party to where we want it to go. So that's my first point. Secondly, on this separate but equal bill that's supposedly going through the Texas House. Man,
Mm.
we got to push back on that every day. I mean, we should be ringing that alarm as much as possible because um, if we don't stop that, nothing else matters. I mean, we're back, back to Jim Crow. We're back before the Civil Rights Act of '64. So, um, that's got to be a priority because we cannot have separate but equal codified in the law. I mean that's what they're trying to do is they're trying to legalize discrimination, whether it's race, whether it's sex, whether it's whatever. That's their ultimate goal. So, and that's it for me tonight.
Yeah,
So,
I'm with Chris.
Oh, thank you, Chris. Thank you, Chris. Dale, I
okay.
know you got to get ready to go. What you got to say, Dale?
Oh, sorry, I was trying to make sure my microphone was working. Yeah, we got a lot going on. I will say this, I'll keep it short because I do get a bounce. We have a runoff election coming up in Frisco, Texas. It's not for another couple of weeks. And unfortunately, if you're not registered to vote, it's too late to register now. But we have 2 city council runoff elections. Our ISDs do not have runoff elections in Frisco. Whoever gets the most amount of votes just wins in the ISDs, but the city councils do. So it's Tammy versus Bert, and it's Gopal versus Elad. And unfortunately for us in Frisco, Texas, all of them are Republicans, but we do and are forced
Yeah.
to in a situation where we're going to try to pick the lesser of the evils. So we are saying we don't necessarily support, or nor rather, we do not endorse these particular candidates, but we do suggest Tammy, and we do not endorse, but we do suggest Gopal for our Frisco City Council runoff elections. But I'll be posting more about that online, so keep your eyes open out for my social media presence as I talk more about those. And I thank you guys for the time.
Thank you. Georgina, you're up.
Well, I don't really have much left to say other than it's been a good talk. It's been a good night. Let's pray for democracy.
That's right.
I want to say thank y'all for coming on. I know we had some technical issues, but you know what? We're we're professional, y'all. We're getting professional. So we just work through it and we just do what we got to do. I want to thank y'all for coming on here. And if you on here, like, share, and subscribe to Let's Talk About It. And if you want to come on here, please reach out and let us know. And thank y'all. We'll see y'all next Wednesday on Let's Talk
Hey,
About It
shout
Stuff
out to
at
Steph for
7
putting this on.
p.m.
I want to give a shout out to Steph for putting this on. I mean, this is
I
I
know.
know this is a big undertaking, so yeah, so we really appreciate this. So as much as I can support it, I'm going to do that.
Yep, I'm with Chris. Hey,
Thank
I've been with you all night.
All right. Hey, you can't
Lord,
get Georgiana
y'all,
on your bad side, man. That's
I know.
It's a big one.
Told y'all we because I told you my husband done left me in the house by myself with the dogs. I'm like, oh my God, I don't know how to shut up. That's probably why he left, huh?
Probably.
But thank
uh,
y'all. I
okay,
appreciate
guys.
y'all and thank you, Dale, for y'all support. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I love y'all, and let's come up with some talking points. And guess what? We'll be back next Wednesday at 7. Let's
All
talk
right.
about stuff. We're gonna talk about politics on Wednesday.
All right.
Ciao.
Okay.
Bye.
Good to see you guys.
Good to see you too.
See y'all.